Hi everyone. So for today, I'm going to walk you through on how to create a dashboard in Excel using economic data. This is what the dashboard looks like once it's complete. I have here 10 years and we have a timeline slider to show us different time frames. First of all, I use the FRED website, which is a website from the Federal Reserve that has a lot of different economic data and research that they do, which is free and you can download. For example, I used CPI data. You can click on any of these, for example, and just download it into an Excel format. Once we have this information in Excel, I take this information. There's three different tabs that I use: the unemployment information, the CPI, and the CPI by category. I take this and I use the Power Pivot function and say add to data models. I did this for each of these three tabs because we're using three different data sources and controlling it with one timeline series. Once I have this into Power View, I then have to go ahead and connect or link these different sheets. These are the three sheets that I used. And I chose to connect them all by the dates. So I click on this date, drag over here. Okay, and once I do this, then I go ahead and select pivot table. This is going to create a pivot table in Excel. I'll show you how to use one of these. So I have this pivot table right here. For this one is the CPI total that I want to create, which what I did was I put in the date function into rows and I put the CPI function into values. And I like to select the number value, not as a sum, but as an average. By default is usually a sum. I like to use the average so that way I can see how it changed every month on average throughout the whole year. And then once I have this already here, I just click onto the pivot table, hit insert, and we're going to go ahead and add a pivot chart. For the CPI total, we're going to create a pivot chart. You can select different things here, line, columns, pie. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and use an area chart. Hit OK. I have this here now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this into my dashboard. As you've seen, I've already copied and pasted a few, but I'm going to go ahead and paste this over here. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more. I'm going to create now my inflation pivot table and chart. So like I did earlier, I put the dates into the row section. I only want the year, so I go ahead and only select the year. And then I have the inflation measure right here. Because before I don't want the sum, I want the average. And I'm going to select this also so that it gives me a percentage with one decimal point. I hit OK. Once I have this, I go into insert, pivot chart, and for this one I'm going to use a column chart. Select OK. This right here, just copy this, go into my dashboard, and I'm going to copy it right here. Okay, so I've already added all of my charts here. I'm just going to manipulate them a little bit and just make them look a little bit better. As you can see, they have a whole bunch of different things that I may not want. For example, this here, I don't want this little thing, so I just hit hide and it hides all of that stuff from there. I also don't want to show these percentages here. Just click on it and hit erase. It erases it. This one here too, erase, just to make it look a little cleaner. And I'm going to go ahead and add a title to this chart. And this one is going to be my unemployment rate chart, right? While I have this chart here, I'm going to go into design view. I want to design this chart with these little dots over here, but which one am I going to choose? I'm going to choose this one right here. I like this one. I like the little bubbles here. Now, as you can see, this came back up, but I don't want this. And since I don't want that, I do want to still show something here so we can have some information. We're going to go to add elements, data labels, and we're going to select above. This way we have all the percentages right above. And I'm going to just click on the actual line in design, and I'm going to select a different color. I like this color a little bit more, how it looks. And I'm also going to take away these little lines. I'm going to go through all of these different charts and also do the same thing and just add different elements or take elements away. Okay, now so I've added all of the names to the different charts here, and I've eliminated some of the elements from all of them. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add the timeline. I click on one of the charts. I go into Pivot Chart Analyzer and select a timeline. And once I have this here, I'm just going to go ahead and select date. This brings up this timeline. I want to have this timeline over here. I can select how to design it and everything right over here. I want to just keep it like this, but I do want to take out some of these elements, take out header and take out the scroll bar. That's about it. And I also want to make sure that I come here and I select years. So I have years. Once I have this, right now it's only selecting one graph. So I want to right click first. I'm just going to leave it like that. All the years selected, right click and select report connections. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on all of the charts that I have and report a connection. Now this should all work and it's changing everything. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do some small aesthetic things to make it look a little bit better. Okay, as you can see, I wrote these two titles up here in these two cells. I'm just going to go ahead and place them here in the middle. I'm going to merge all of those cells, put all of this in the middle. Just going to select the size, say 38. That looks a little bit big, so I'll say 28. Something like that. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for this over here. Okay, so I've added the titles how I want them up here and up here. Now, a couple last things that I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these charts and just to make them a little cleaner, I'm going to eliminate all of these borders and make the whole background white. Double click on this, hit border, no fill. I'm going to do the same for all of these. Now the last other thing also that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the sheet right here, how it views, and I'm going to uncheck the grid lines, and this just makes it look a little bit cleaner. I'm also going to go ahead and change these two charts. I have this one right here, the design that I'm going to use. I want to change this into a greenish color. I can leave it exactly like that, but I don't want these fields right here. So I'm going to eliminate this, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to the top of each of these data labels, add on the outside. And now you can see all of the wages there at the top. I'm also going to select all of these little lines and just take them away. That way it looks a little bit cleaner, the information. I'm also going to do the same thing for the inflation chart. For this one, I'm actually going to go ahead and choose something like this. I kind of like this chart here. Yeah, so for this one, instead of going into this selector here and choosing these colors, I'm going to double click on the chart, brings this menu up. I'm just going to click on this little line and go ahead and change that color. I want to make this into red. That way now it's red. Select the whole amount, and now we can see the whole chart. And as you can see, we just created this dashboard here. And you could play around with it, see different years, see how the different economic indicators performed,